Dear students, we are going to discuss overall language system that was used in Old English. I hope and expect that by the end of this session, you would be able to understand what was the overall system that was being used in Old English. I would particularly focus on the use of affixes, that is, suffixes and prefixes. I think the use of suffixes and prefixes was one of the most distinctive feature of the Old English language. These were used to form new words, to give shape and form to other words that were already existing in language by adding certain prefixes and suffixes, thus giving them new shapes and forms as well as new meanings. In this characteristic, Old English resembles modern German. Here are some examples on the screen. These are the examples of suffixes. Suffixes are those endings, by the way, just to refresh your memory, that are used to make new words by adding to the end of a root word. So notice on the screen, this particular mark shows that this is to be added at the end, by the way. So certain words like egg, full, lias, lice, ness, and ung, all of these were used in Old English to form further words. Adjectives were formed by using suffixes in Old English. Here are some examples if you look at the screen. So, for example, if you look at this particular suffix, some, and if you look at this particular word, whiz, the noun that is added, this whiz to this some, and when they are combined, we get this word. So this is how combinations are made. Again, notice the use of this suffix that is used here. Kingdom, here dom is added. Earldom, to the word earl, this is the main word, and dom is added as a suffix to that. You can also notice here in all these cases that are shown, certain suffixes are added to create new words. For example, childhood, add is added. So what you can also notice here is, if you look at this pronunciation of this particular one that I'm pointing out now is ship. So, well, this is very strange for you to read this as friendship. You know, the spellings are different. This part is friend and this is ship. By adding this suffix, the word friendship is made. Again, in Old English, the use of prefixes was very, very much prevalent. In fact, prefixes were a very, very fertile resource that were used for building vocabulary or for making words. Particularly a feature in the formation of verbs. So, especially for making verbs, these prefixes were used. In fact, in Old English, we would find almost a dozen of such prefixes that would occur with a great frequency. So if you look at this part of the screen, here are some examples. These were the prefixes that were used to make words. So, for example, misunderstanding, underestimate, forward, for example, forward, unlikely, unluckily, unfortunately, etc. Thus, with the help of these Old English examples of prefixes and suffixes, a lot of verbs could be created and the simple verbs would be given different forms. This is a very, very interesting example that I'm going to share with you. You can see how by using one particular verb in Old English, that is set on, this much part only. Notice this much part only. This set on by adding prefixes here. You know, if you notice just the prefixes, what you would see is the same word set on. As set on means place. Base set on, a point. For set on means obstruct. For set on means to place before. So you can see how a lot of variety is created by using these prefixes with the same verb. The story doesn't end here, my dear students. We can make further verbs with adding these prefixes. See, for instance, a few more. Interestingly, these are again with the same set on. Off set on, afflict. On set on, oppress. To set on, dispose. Unset on, put down. With set on, resist. So, you know, almost a dozen of verbs could be made by adding these prefixes in Old English. In fact, this helped Old English express difficult ideas very adequately and with a lot of variety, and this added a lot to the fund of vocabulary that Old English had.